Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you're watching from. Thank you so much for joining us here on Apex Racing TV. We've got the SRF Weekend Warriors presented by RaceVoice for you. It's round 5 here from Circuit Zandvoort. Should be a great fun race. This is probably a track best suited for this sort of slow, grippy car. I'm Tyler Newitt. Joined in the broadcast booth today by Alex Simpson, and running the cameras and everything behind the scenes is Dennis Branch for us tonight. So we've got a great show in store for you today. Practice is just wrapping up for these drivers before they head out onto the grid for this race, round number 5 of the SRF Weekend Warriors Championship. We'll just quickly glance at the standings. We don't have a ton of time before race start, but in Spec 1, Iro Nam is your points leader ahead of Ferenz Arabian and David Bohm. For Spec 2, we've got J.W. Miller ahead of Ian Gibson and Ian Malone. And in the Masters standings, we've got Tom Gradwell from Antonio Rice and Kenneth Bately. So those some names to keep an eye on for you tonight, and for sure drivers to look out for throughout the season. We've got a number of drivers on the grid today, a pretty strong field. I think we're looking at somewhere in the 30-plus drivers list, which is a great turnout for the Weekend Warriors here. Do want to mention, of course, the Weekend Warriors. Just cutting to grid here. So we'll get you through the grid, and then we'll give a shout out to our sponsors here. Iro Nam is starting on the pole for this race ahead of David Bohm. Maurizio Nazelli will start third with Pete Mabroten in fourth. Ferenz Arabian starts fifth. Ferenz in the fight for that Spec 1 championship. Hugh Haycox will start in sixth ahead of Simon Mayer. Ian Haycox starts in eighth. Dudu Castro in 9th ahead of John Vogel in 10th. Behind them, it's Bobby West and Michael Dobek in 11th and 12th. 13th is Dan Sadro Mirohrowski in 14th. Ian Malone starts 15th ahead of Ken Bately. Stevie Ray will start in 17th alongside Jeff Fritcher. John Tusting starts 19th. Ian Gibson alongside him in 20th. J.W. Miller lines up 21st next to Tom Gradwell. Bob Kern will start in 23rd along with Adam Bradshaw. Further on down, we've got Mark Geehan in 25th, Roland Wallbank 26th. Paul Jackson's going to line up in 27th, Darren Cohn in 28th. Alex Rogenbuck starts 29th, Jason Perry 30th, and Jesus Rodriguez in 31st. So a 31-strong field for the Weekend Warriors here today as the field gets rolling behind the pace car. It's going to be a full pace lap behind Zandvoort. And while they're circulating, we just want to give a shout out to RaceVoice. RaceVoice is proud to be the exclusive sponsor of the Weekend Warrior Spec Racer Ford Racing Series. Take your driving to the next level with on-track audible performance alerts with RaceVoice and RaceVoiceSIM. Hear miles per hour, turn, entry, and exit speeds, upshift alerts, and other performance metrics which are selected and configured by you. Go faster with the speed of voice. Plus, Weekend Warriors get 50% off annual SIM pricing using the promo code of WW50. Check them out at www.racevoice.com. Well, Alex, we're getting going quickly here. Who are you watching? Who are your eyes on for the start of this race here? Obviously, points leader Iro Nam on the pole is one to keep an eye out for. Who else are you looking at?
Yeah, hi Tyler. Good to be here. It's been a little while since I've covered this series now, just obviously standing in for Jack. But yeah, I've got to look no further than Nom, I'm afraid. I have watched that guy race countless of Ritmotech sports car races on a Monday night, and the guy is an absolute beast. Just seems to be able to drag the right strategy calls where he needs them. Absolutely just hammers the laps in. The guy is like a machine. So it's a very easy pick to take the pole sitter and the championship point leader, but you know, the guys are going to have to really deliver something to beat him today. Now, of course, I know this little spec racer, you know, the drafts there is going to be difficult for him to break away from the pack, so I'm expecting some exciting racing. here at Zandvoort. Like you said earlier on, this is probably the perfect circuit for a car like this. It's going to make racing very interesting. So I think we're going to have great battle for the lead, and then we're going to keep an eye on sort of the individual class battles as well that are going to go on. I think we're going to have our hands full today.
Well, there you have it. That's 2 sets of eyes on Iro Nam for the start of this race. Of course, David Bohm, Maurizio Naselli, and the rest of the field will want to have something to say about it, but it's Iro on top for the start. Pace car just working its way around the back half of the track now. We've still got a little bit of time here. So just waiting for the field to roll back around. Of course, mentioned Ferenz Arabians in that fight. David Bohm is as well. He's third in the Spec 1 standing. So with his strong starting position of second, he'll want to be taking the fight to Iro Nam to close that points gap. It's 67 back to Arabian, 69 back to Bohm. So definitely in with a shout, particularly of grabbing that second spot in the Spec 1 standings from Ferenz Arabian. So keeping an eye on our other class points leaders. We mentioned JW Miller sits atop the Spec 2 point standing. JW starting in 22nd, so a bit of a ways back down the field. His closest championship competitor is Ian Gibson, who's 46 points back. Ian is starting in 20th, so he's got the upper hand right away with just a little bit of a gap over JW Miller at the start. Then, of course, in the Masters standings, Tom Bradwell, who we mentioned, sits atop those points. Tom is starting 22nd, so right there with JW and Ian. So he will be looking to hang on to that championship lead as we pass pit entry. It's a sharp turn for the pace car who heads for the pit lane, but the green flag is out. Iro Nam's got a great jump in behind in the pink car. I think that's Hugh Haycock settles into 5th. He had some clear air, but they're side by side for second on back. Tight field as they head into turn 1 here at Zandvoort, and Iro Nam has escaped away down the road, Alec.
Yeah, good little start from here. Got the jump on the crowd. This little complex here, first sector, always tricky on a start. It gets very, very narrow through here as well. So let's keep our eyes on the swivel here as they all work their way through. Lots of room being given. I see a little bit of smoke, a few cars around.
Ooh, that was our second. No, sorry, it wasn't David Bohm. Who was that who had spun?
Perry involved and Kern.
Yeah, Kern and Perry, the big
there's a lot of cars ended up
losers here. Yeah, there's quite a few. I saw Steve Ray in there as well. Maurizio Naselli was the driver who started in second and was involved in that one. Perhaps the start of that one. Don't know if we'll have a replay for it, but there was a number of cars involved. Kern, Naselli, and Dudu Castro got the worst of it. Steve Ray as well. Those 4 drivers have set back to the pit lane.
But I hate being right. I said how narrow that circuit is around that first sector, and you know, the drivers have to leave the room. I'm not quite sure exactly what happened, but yeah, it's almost inevitable, I think, at the starts here at Zandvoort.
You're spot on, Alex, and I think we were hopeful with some of these slower cars like the Spec Racers as we get a replay here. So I believe that's Hugh Haycock's in the pink car. We've got a fantastic start. Oh, just looked up the inside and I think bounced off the curb a little bit, and it would. Oh, I didn't catch who the yellow and green car was who made the heaviest contact, but unfortunately the 44 of Naselli was like a ping pong ball there, getting bounced around off of the bumpers. There's the 308 of Simon Mayer, who despite that heavy contact is continuing on just fine. So evidently not slowing him down terribly much. He's under pressure from Michael Dobek in the number 42. But at the moment, Simon holding on to that 8th position. Looks like Michael Dobek has some damage as well. I'd imagine quite a few of these cars do, as the track was pretty well blocked there by the 44 of Maurizio Naselli. Definitely a number of cars involved. I was going to say, Alex, you know, we were talking, I think, hopefully, that with these slightly slower cars and you know, slightly narrower, they might be able to make more use of this very narrow first sector than perhaps the more high-powered downforce style cars that I guess you're certainly more familiar with around the turns of Zandvoort.
Yeah, I think it just doesn't matter. I think when it comes to the start with well, no matter what car you've got, it's just a bit narrow, especially that hairpin there as well. There's so much camber there that You know, you can take so many different lines through there, and I think that's what we saw really, those sort of the late apex line. Yeah, just getting a tiny little bit underneath and sent the car around, and then like you say, it was just unfortunate. It was one of the leaders as well, because yeah, then everybody has to check up, and I think this is why we're seeing a lot of cars out there with damage right now, as Haycock still eager to try and make up some positions, having another little look. And
yeah, that was actually Ferenz Arabian going back through on Hugh Haycock's. I think Arabian started one spot ahead of Hugh, but Hugh got the jump from the get-go. Definitely, it does look like there's a little damage on that 34 car from the contact we saw. So I think perhaps slowing him down just a smidge, and Ferenz was able to get through. Obviously, we mentioned Ferenz in the championship fight. In fact, as it stands right now, the top 3 on track are the top 3 in the Spec 1 standings, albeit with second and third reversed. As Hugh Haycox has a look back on Ferenz Arabian there.
Oh, it doesn't. The first lap incident hasn't put him off showing his nose up the inside there, has it at all?
It certainly has. He at least thought better of actually sticking the nose alongside of Ferenz Arabian there. Perhaps didn't get quite as good of a run, but definitely not shying away from the fight is Hugh Haycox.
Oh, he's made contact. And yeah, he's going to definitely have the worst of it by going into the gravel trap. But I think Ferenz also just got a little bit sideways going through that fast downhill right-hander, but seems to be okay.
I was about to say, Alex, I could have been mistaken, as there's another car off. That's Miller, who spun back there. It looked to me like Ferenz had lost it before Haycox even got there, and Haycox potentially had nowhere to go. I'd have to see a replay because it wasn't easy to see from that angle by any means. Yeah, it almost looked as though, as you mentioned, Arabian just lost it on the downhill. And Haycox is struggling now. He's under pressure from Gibson. Gibson, one of the front runners in the Spec 2 championship, I believe.
Here we go. Then
here we get a replay.
Shot of this. It's difficult to tell. I think
yeah, hidden a bit behind the barrier. I mean, there certainly was contact between the two of them.
Let's see if the producer can give us sort of a more of an aerial shot. Let's see if we can get that. And maybe put this to bed.
Yeah, no doubt there was contact between the two. You can see the damage on the rear bumper. Oh no.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was all on Haycox there. Arabian just getting checked up for the corner and took a shot to the rear from Hugh Haycox. So Hugh not making any friends out there today. That's 2 drivers spun off the nose of that pink number 34. 34, thank you. The pink number 34 for Hugh Haycock. Got tripped up by, of course, Ian Haycox, who is also in this race.
Oh, Sadro.
Yeah, trouble for Dan Sadro. Some damage on the side of that car.
Face says it all, doesn't it, on the back of that car?
Yeah. And that was in turn 1, I believe. Yeah, so headed down the front stretch. He's not got anyone immediately behind him. I think he's in behind Gibson there.
I think he's worried about hitting Gibson, isn't he? Just too much on the brakes there. Back end comes around, and yeah, that's what she wrote.
Yeah, spot on, Alex. It looked like Gibson ran just a little bit wide there. And he thought about sticking it to the inside, then thought better of it, but unfortunately didn't have the grip to keep it pinned down to the apex, and just had it slip out from under him there. So tough break, but he continues on. We're looking at JW Miller here now. Miller, who had spun earlier on, and that is your Spec 2 championship leader, if I'm not mistaken, JW. So he will want to get back on his horse and work his way back forward. Indeed, he is, especially considering second place in that championship. Ian Gibson currently sitting in 14th. We highlighted Gibson running well, so definitely JW is going to want to make up some spots there.
Yeah, he needs to. It's about 8 spots or so that he's got to get moving. Back is starting to break up a little bit, actually, which I'm quite surprised about this early on. I know of my previous experience of the series that can be like a little train for quite some time, but I think this is what happens when you have a couple of critical incidents at the very start of the race. It just breaks that pack up, and I think that's certainly. Just going to say, I think that was the big problem for Ferenz. You know, he wanted to get a move and get by Haycock and try and get back onto the back of Nom and David for first and second, just so they don't drive away. But yeah, he finds himself down into fifth.
Yeah, and was just going to add, if ever there was a track that was twisty enough to break up those draft packs, I'd say Zandvoort's certainly a candidate for that. You got lots of twisty sections between any of the straights on this track as you see the battle for the lead, and it is right there together. Euro Nam ahead of David Bohm.
I love this part of the circuit, this right, left, so good. Again, as you alluded, kind of used to do it in the super high downforce cars, so definitely back in my sort of heyday of racing, the FW31 through here, just absolutely fling it in and hope for the best. But I tell you what, I bet when you're pushing these things to their limit and they're about to break traction, I bet they feel absolutely on the edge and a lot of fun as well.
Yeah, interesting to see the differing lines there between Bohm and Nam. Bohm kept it pinned right to the inside part of the track. Nam let it drift out a bit wider. Not sure if that really helped him with the runoff or he just kind of missed the apex a little bit, but either way, the gap's about what it was going into the corner, so hasn't hurt Nam particularly. And they have really stretched it out. Obviously, the contact between Haycox and Ferenz was going to help build that gap anyway, but they have stretched that considerably. We see a car headed for pit lane. That's west.
Yeah, let's keep an eye on that, see what that is. And the guys will have to forgive me as well. I'm not entirely clued up on the potential strategies that they can go for in the race. Again, just obviously stepping in this week to cover, so we'll try and work that one out.
Yeah, unfortunately, with me stepping in as well, I'm not sure either. So with both myself filling for Jim and you filling in for Jack, we find ourselves with a completely fresh group of faces in the broadcast booth. So hope you folks at home are understanding of it, but we're certainly happy to be here and enjoying the show these guys are putting on. I'm sure Jim and Jack are lucky to get to call this one every week because they are good fun to watch around here, especially as Ian Haycox is putting the pressure on McBroten. I didn't see McBroten go by, so not sure where exactly that position changed hands, but at one point I'm pretty certain Ian Haycox was ahead there.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly when it happened as well, but just looking at previous lap times, they've been sort of exchanging lap times for a little while now, so nothing really between them.
Get a look there at Jesus Rodriguez. He is our biggest mover of the race so far, up 17 places. Phenomenal effort for him, starting well towards the back of the field. He finds himself up into 14th place now, and right on the rear bumper of Ian Gibson, who we mentioned is gunning for that Spec 2 championship lead. JW Miller's been able to make up a few places, but still sits back in 18th, so definitely looking at a strong points day is Ian Gibson. We've got Michael Dobek in the pit lane, so some more pit stops happening. That is a bent up looking Spec Racer Ford.
There's a few of them out there now, and definitely some early strategy calls coming in here, I think, as this little battle for the podium heats back up as Ferenz joins the back of that pack. So yeah, it could be interesting. I was going to say, when we were looking at Rodriguez as well, you were saying he's now up 18. A few pit stops kind of helping that, but his car looked in mint condition as well. So he managed to get through all that craziness on the start unscathed, and yeah, that I think is kind of why he's up that many spots. So great job from him to kind of navigate that instant, as it's getting very tasty up front, and Nom coming under a fair bit of pressure. David Bohm having a little look. Fastest lap of the race for Bohm last time by, I will add.
Yeah, he's been right thereabouts. We've got a couple folks on the YouTube chat. Thanks so much for joining us, Flavio and Fred. Flavio, I would imagine, is usually a racer in this league because he said he's sad for missing this one. Also mentioned somebody had a stop and go. I'm not sure who that is. Would imagine it's one of the drivers we've seen head down pit lane as this battle for the lead continues on. And Fred mentions a 10-second for Haycox, perhaps a 10-second penalty for the contact we saw earlier. As Bohm is all the way up on the exit curbing in the final corner. Not sure that'll really help him get a run down into turn 1, but he is really keeping the pressure on Nam, doing an excellent job there. Ooh, who's that in the wall? That's Mark Geehan. Oh, that's tough for Mark. Dropping down the order rapidly.
But that's exactly what he looks like in his helmet right there as well.
Yeah.
After that incident. Let's see what happened. Looks like he just drove it in far too deep. And then, got T-boned for it as well.
Yeah, that's a tough little chicane, isn't it? It's pretty susceptible to overdriving it on entry, and he was right in behind 2 battling cars as well. I think it was these 2, actually. Gibson and Rodriguez, as Rodriguez continues to just absolutely march towards the front. And just, I don't know if he was unsighted or maybe carrying a little more speed than he expected with a tow, and just lost it in the corner. So that's a shame. Here we have a battle, Paul Jackson and Wallbank here for squabbling over 15th. Kuhn in this one as Roland hangs on to the spot for now, but doesn't seem as though Paul Jackson is done yet. All 3 of these drivers are up 11 places from the start. Some of that surely will be capitalizing on others' misfortune, but obviously, you got to be in it to win it as Roland Wallbank goes off the track.
That was kind of out of nowhere, wasn't it? Just drove it in far too deep. And
yeah, a bit of a commentator's curse, I think. But yeah, to finish my point, as I was saying, you got to be in it to win it. So even if you're just capitalizing on others' misfortunes, it doesn't change the fact that they're running considerably higher than they started in this one. It's the battle for the lead. Bohm's got a good run out of the final corner this time. Don't know if he's going to be able to suck up past Nam into turn 1, but I'd be surprised if he doesn't have a look here. No, just, yeah, thinking better of it for now, maybe waiting for a little later on. Obviously, still with 25 minutes to go in this race, time to spare for Bohm, who I'd imagine feels like he's got a little bit of pace. This is Arabian working his way back forward around nice. Ian Haycox.
Just showing his pace there, really. He was able to drive up to those guys, use the draft, and now come through.
Sorry, Alex Haycox
yeah.
did well to hang on to that one, to be honest.
Yeah, cheeky little corner, that one as well, and you just take a little too much speed. It's quite easy to do, and it becomes very difficult to get the car stopped. Here's another move.
Yeah, that's Dobek on the recovering Roland Wallbank, who we saw off in the gravel. Yeah, perhaps just a little dirt still or gravel on the tires for Wallbank. Doesn't really seem to be quite up to pace of the cars around him, continuing to drop back just a bit.
Yeah, it's Bobby West that was following. I think it's the producer to bringing him up, but yeah, both of them getting through into turn 1 though. Good move. So you got to love that camber in turn 1 as well. You can really get on the anchors very late and throw that car in there.
Oh, that's Ken Bately. Another driver from the top 10 who's finding himself in trouble there. He gets back going, still in 13th place, but takes him out of a top 10 position for Ken there.
No one around. Maybe just a case of the inside curb perhaps catching him out. Oh no, he just missed it. And then, yeah, it was wide and got off the power and, yeah.
And I think Ken was in good position to make up some ground in the Masters Championship, where he currently sits 3rd to Antonio Rice and to Tom Gradwell. Gradwell not having the best of days, but now finds himself 1 spot ahead of Ken Bately. So a tough break there for Ken. I'm not sure Rice is in the field today. So that's going to be, that's certainly going to drop him in the Masters standings. Obviously, we have 13 races in the series, top 10 rounds count, so the drivers can afford to miss a race or 2. But definitely want to score points as often and as consistently as you can. And unfortunately for Bately, he now finds himself but in behind his potentially main championship rival.
Yep. Wallbank into the pits. It's going to take a bit of a breather. Being from Wales, I'm sure he's like me right now, absolutely very uncomfortable with the
Sweltering.
heat. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
so hot today here.
First,
It's yeah, it's crazy really, because just over the channel, they're struggling with all the floods and things like that. So how the weather can vary so quickly.
yeah, I think I was talking with some of my friends in the UK. It's actually warmer over there than it is here in Idaho today, which is a bit of a shock. But we're not quite in the triple digits Fahrenheit, and I think they were. So that kind of tells you what it's like across the pond. So I'm just looking now, Alex, at the highest running of the drivers who have made a pit stop. And that's Michael Dobek in 17th place. So we noted when he came in, we were, I think, a bit surprised because we weren't sure exactly what the strategy is for this series. But I'm definitely keeping my eye on Michael. And as people cycle through the pit, he keeps coming out ahead of him as we see Ferenz Arabian into the pit lane. So actually, that'll be one definitely to keep an eye on. Yeah, that's another spin for Bately. I'm very curious to see where Ferenz Arabian comes out relative to Michael Dobek. So that'll be one to watch.
Yeah, I wonder if Michael was just getting in to try and get out from the traffic that he was in amongst. Thinks that, he can lap a bit quicker, but he's got a bit of traffic to deal with right now.
Exactly. It's always a tough call when you pit early because
he's going to do them both.
I think he is. He's definitely got the speed here. Late on the brakes though is was that John Tusting, I think, sticking it around the outside and making up the place on Paul Jackson. Poor Paul Jackson finds himself down 4 spots in the span of 1 corner.
So far there on the left, not sure who that was, but struggling. But yeah, great move there.
And Ferenz Arabian has come out ahead of Dobek by about 3.5 seconds. So gives you a rough idea.
Oh, look at that pristine car now. What a
yeah, fast repaired. Worked a treat for Ferenz Arabian. As that's a spin for Jeff Fritcher, another car in the top 10 who's having issues. And that's our leader. That's Zero Nom.
What has gone on for Nom? Nom does not make mistakes. Let's see if this was an unforced error. I'm sure we'll get a replay in a moment.
There's a slight hitch in the right rear bumper.
As David Baum just sent one in a little bit deep. Let's have a look. Oh, I think he has. Yes.
Now he's passed through an apology on the in-game chat, has David Baum. Yeah, I think that was just a case of Baum. It's one of those situations where I don't think Baum was attempting to make a move there. He just suddenly found himself either outbraking himself or, you kind of get that target fixation. Oh, that's our Spec 2 points leader, JW Miller, who's around.
He's having a mare today, Miller, unfortunately. I've seen
that's
a few times.
At least his second spin. And it looks like it was all on his own based on the fact that there's nobody around him. Oh, it's that chicane again. Yep,
just too deep.
Too much
car
speed.
Didn't appreciate it coming around back onto the circuit. Let's see what's going to happen then, as Nom has actually lost second place to Haycock now. So I wonder if he's going to decide to box in fairly soon.
Yeah. As I was going to say, it felt like one of those situations where perhaps Bohm just got kind of target fixation on Nom's rear bumper and missed his braking point completely because you saw him duck to the inside, but it was late, as if he was just trying to avoid hitting him, not trying to make the overtaking maneuver. So big shame for Nom. We'll see if he can work his way back forward, but right now he's stuck behind Ian Haycock. The other interesting thing, too, to factor in there, Alex, is we know Haycox was battling with Ferenz Arabian before Arabian made his pit stop. You wonder what that means for Nom when he makes his pit stop. Will he come out behind Ferenz Arabian? That could shape how this race goes.
Absolutely,
from here on out.
Right in the thick of it, I think. So we had obviously them scamper away at the start, but I think certainly the battle for the podium is going to be absolutely on for the end of this. Bond didn't really get slowed down or anything like that. I wonder if he'll get any kind of penalty or anything that he may have to serve in the pit stop. I wonder if he'll even check up. You never know. That's something he might do. Bit of sportsmanship, but maybe not.
Sorry, Alex. It's Nom through on Ian Haycock, so that'll give him some clean air. Yeah, I'd have to believe that Bohm is is in line for a penalty there, unless, as you mentioned, he cedes the position on his own merit. But yeah, that's hard to find fault with anything Euronam did there.
No, absolutely. A few more drivers into the pit lane there. You can see at the bottom of your screen the obviously the pit time and the actual stationary time. Pretty much shaking everybody out. We've just got what, about 8 or so drivers now that haven't actually pitted.
Yeah.
So
a couple notable drivers in the pits. Jesus Rodriguez, our biggest mover till that point today. Now he's even with Paul Jackson and Darren Kuhn. Tom Gradwell as well, our Masters class points leader, is in the pits, and I could be wrong, but he's having a pretty lengthy pit stop. Yeah, so perhaps Gradwell serving a penalty, or some other reason Gradwell is being held in the pits, but he has been in there for quite a bit longer than anybody else who's come down pit lane.
Yeah, we just hit the minute mark. So that's what happens when we hit 1 minute in the pits. That's why they disappear like that. So still being served. I can see it on my live timing at the moment. So yeah, not a good one at all. Double the time at the moment. Pits stationary. So some problem for him.
Yeah, and we talked about big opportunity for Ken Bately, who's not having a great day himself. But although he hasn't made a stop yet, he finds himself up in 10th place. So big opportunity here to make up some points for Ken Bately. There he is. If he can avoid having any more spins from here on out, I think he'd be in good shape. And as soon as I said, oh my goodness.
If that doesn't make some sort of, commentary curse.
I have never seen.
I do not know what will.
I have never seen a more direct application of the commentator's curse, and I really have to apologize to Ken Bately there, because that was all on me. As there's a spin for Kuhn. It's all gone on here. I don't know how hot the track is, but it seems like the drivers are really struggling for grip out there today.
Literally, where's the guy with the sniper rifle? Someone's just taking him out right now.
And we've been told on the chat that penalties don't exist except for the 12X one. So it could have been an incident point hit for Gradwell. It could also very well have been a pit entry.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure how tight the pit entry here is at Zandvoort, but it could very well have been that. As this is for a podium place as it stands right now. Ian Haycox and Pete Mabroten fighting over that third spot.
Yeah, Nom's drove away from these two. Just goes to show that the pace that he had. Let's see, I guess, really. There's enough of this race left that if Nom has genuinely got, a few tenths here and there up his sleeve over David Bond, that he might be able to drag that back, get into that slipstream, and we'll have a bit of showdown for the final few laps. Because I'm impressed by the way he's pulled away here.
For sure. The only worry there is Bohm was really putting the pressure on Nam early on, and I would be a bit surprised if Nam has anything in the way of additional pace, unless Bohm has some damage from that incident, which could be slowing him down. But definitely something to watch as pit stops cycle through. But I think Nam is going to be hard-pressed to make that gap up, as we see. Was that a pass or a defense there? I think that was... Oh my goodness. That's Jackson off into the wall.
Just far too deep in there, but unlike the others, he didn't actually sort of spin through the chicane, just sort of managed to keep it pointing forward and just ran a little bit wide. Hopefully he won't have picked up too much damage.
Yeah, we've had quite a bit of action here. I haven't had the chance to get this in, but want to give another shout out to broadcast sponsor RaceVoice. RaceVoice is proud to be the exclusive sponsor of the Weekend Warrior Spec Racer Ford Racing Series. Take your driving to the next level with on-track audible performance alerts with RaceVoice and RaceVoiceSIM. Hear miles per hour, turn entry and exit speeds, upshift alerts, and other performance metrics which are selected and configured by you. Go faster with the speed of voice. Plus, Weekend Warriors get 50% off annual SIM pricing using the promo code WW50. Check them out at www.racevoice.com as it's more trouble for Ian Gibson. I say more trouble. I think actually Ian Gibson had one of the cleanest races going. Now I think about it, he'd just been in a number of battles. But what happened here? Oh, is that Ian Haycox again? Oh, no. and that was all on Haycock's. Just
Not
getting.
had the best of days, has he, Haycox? I'm afraid. So
Neither Haycocks have they? Hugh and Ian have both been in their share of trouble. But now Ian Gibson finds himself back in 10th place, and he's one of the few drivers who hasn't made the pit stop yet. So not good for Ian there. Sorry, not Ian. Yes, still Ian. Ian Gibson, that is, not Ian Haycocks.
I was looking for the. I was about to say I was looking for the second Haycox there. I was like, where are they? Where are they? Where are they?
Well, there are of course Hugh and Ian Haycocks in the race, and both have had their share of incidents. But that was Ian Gibson getting the shove from Ian Haycocks, and Ian Gibson came into this race second in Spec 2 standings, and with the trouble we've seen for JW Miller, stood to make up a good number of points. But he'll come in and take his fast repair now. That's probably the one advantage to saving his pit stop till later. He can take that fast repair now and may still well come out ahead of JW Miller, but it's not going to be nearly as much of a gain as he was likely hoping for with how the start of the race was going.
Bobby West here, tucked up behind Hugh. If he's able to stay in the slipstream, Hugh showed good pace all race long, really.
Yeah, he's been quick. He's just had the issues there. As the top three currently sit at David Bohm, Euro Nam, and Ferenz Arabian, but I believe at this point Bohm is the only one in that group who is not pit. But that means that Nam has been able to, with the overcut, stay ahead of Ferenz Arabian, which is good for his race.
Yeah, and there's enough of a gap there as well that there's no slipstream being had from sort of Ferenz to Nom there as well. So he can really just head down, I think, and just focus on banging those laps in and see if he can close this gap down. Last lap,
Absolutely.
mind you, was 0.4 of a second slower than our leader, so...
And as soon as we say it, David Bohm is in the pit lane, so this will be the telling moment here as we see Nam already headed down the front stretch, but Bohm's gone.
Yeah, Bohm's
so that gap was about, I want to say it was about 5 seconds before the sequence of pit stops. We'll see how it all shakes out here once timing gets sorted.
Yeah, I think it's going to be similar, but the little bit of battling that Nom's had to do perhaps it cost him a little bit more.
It does look that way.
So who's that? That's Simon Mayer there in the 308, taking a move. That car looks a little bit better, Nick, doesn't it, from what it did at the start of this race?
Yeah, well, Simon, remember, had a big hit in that first incident of the race on the first lap. Ooh, little hip check there from Ian Malone, but they stay side by side. And I think that's Miro Hrosky watching all this with probably a bit of tension.
Yeah, everyone makes it through there, no issues. Continue up this hill. Say they don't have to close up on each other here. That draft really coming into effect. It's downhill right. I love this corner as well. Just absolutely another one where you just throw it in and just hope for the best that you don't run wide.
We were talking before we came on air here. Even if Zandvoort is a little tight for racing, particularly in the higher speed, higher downforce cars, it's just such a marvelous track to lap in anything. And I'm sure that the Spec Racer Ford guys are having an absolute blast driving around here. It's so technical, but so flowy and just a lot of fun in anything slow or fast.
The multiple lines as well that you can take at this place, you know, which is what also makes it interesting. Oh no, we've seen a lot of that today, and there's another one. Mayer into the back of Malone.
And Mayer's waited here to let him get going, which is good, but that just looked like another case of someone overshooting the chicane. And unfortunately...
Oh, the car's done, yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately for both Simon Mayer and Ian Malone was there when Simon Mayer overshot the chicane. So tough break for both of those two, particularly Malone, who obviously had no fault in that incident.
What a shame for Malone as well, because he was having a good race today, and he was up on Gibson, so he's closing in on that P2 in the championship. you know, and I think at the time he was ahead of JW Miller as well, so he would have had a good chance to have closed in on the overall points leader too. So yeah, how quickly a race can just swing to the opposite, yeah, to your opposite rivals there in their favor.
Yeah, trouble here from Michael Dobek. Looks to be just a little too much speed in there. Oh, dear.
Oh, yep,
And that
not
could
sure.
have been a big hit, but he got on the brakes hard and really did well to keep that car clear of any of the walls. That was well held by Michael Dobek, and he hangs on to 7th place as well. And with, I believe, all of the pit stops having been taken, that's a true 7th there for Michael Dobek. Yeah, everybody's been through the pits at least once, so shouldn't see any more scheduled pit stops before the end of this race, and you wouldn't expect to, because somehow, Alec, we're looking at just about 6 minutes to go.
Yeah, the race flies by. Action, like we said at the start of this, I think we were going to have it throughout the field. Different things going on. Particularly this battle for 15th right now. It's closing right up. 5 cars involved. Trying to make out the 97 paint scheme. Exactly what that is.
Yeah, it's potatoes, I think.
Yeah.
It's either potatoes or peanuts, and I think my money's on potatoes. It's certainly interesting. But Jason Perry doing well in the potato car. Hanging on to 15th place and up 15 places from where he started, right at the back of the field. So good job there. There's Ferenz Arabian holding off Ian Haycox for now. Doesn't have the advantage of that draft from Miro Nam, though, so going to be tough to break free of Haycock. This is a pass for 12th place, I believe, Dan Sadra on Jesus Rodriguez. Rodriguez fights back there, but not going to get the drive off.
Another sort of textbook move into turn 1, using that camber just to be able to throw it in a little bit deep. Oh,
another slide.
JW Miller.
And look who it is coming late to the scene and unfortunately having to dive out of the way. It's poor Ken Bately as he was inside on Jason Perry there. And Ken Bately just can't catch a break, can he? That is
We're not guilty this time at all.
No, I didn't even mention him till he was already in the wall.
Sorry, Ken, yeah, that one's not on us.
Yeah. Now, with the troubles that Gradwell has had, again, Bately is still ahead in that battle for the Masters Championship. But I don't think he's going to close as much of that 44-point gap as he would have liked. Big defensive line there from Ferenz Arabian. Haycock's got a great run out of the final corner. I think he's going to send it around the outside here. Don't know if he'll quite have the grip, but as we've mentioned before, that turn does sort of camber in his favor. Can't quite hold it though, and Ferenz will hang on to 3rd place for now.
Yeah, stay on board with this. Let's just see this circuit, see all the undulations, all the camber that's here. Come up through this hairpin, uphill, bit of a drag, and then you dip back down again, and you're going to come back up again in a moment. You see that draft slowly start to take effect. They come up the hill.
Who doesn't love a track with some good elevation changes? Zandvoort has it in spades.
So this and Mid-Ohio, those 2 circuits, Rio, you know, you got to love them for the roller coaster ride that you go on.
All of my favorites in iRacing, Mid-Ohio, Mosport, Barber, they're all the great ones have that roller coaster effect, I think, as there was a big save there for me and Haycock.
Yeah, that was a whole boatload of opposite lock that we saw. Lost a little bit of time, but I'm sure he'll catch that back up with the slipstream on the main straight. No move going off into the chicane. The chicane definitely is an overtaking opportunity if you can get a really good exit out of the fast sort of right-left section.
Yeah, it's one of those, it's a tough one though, because we've seen a number of, I think we've seen more drivers get it wrong than perform successful overtakes there so far today. So can definitely catch you out, but if you know what you're doing, you can definitely make it work. You're absolutely right. final corner onto the front stretch. Ian Haycock's not as close this time as he was last time around. Still, though, Ferenz goes defensive. We'll see if Haycox tries to go around the outside again. Ferenz covers off the line as Haycox wasn't really up alongside him yet.
Also, the lead battle's come down ever so slightly. It's down to 3.7 seconds now, I believe, the lead. So it's not going to be it's not going to be enough. That's for sure.
It's a bit of a shame because it really, you've got to believe it would have been tight right to the end had there not been that unfortunate contact there. But as it stands, David Bohm 3.5 seconds clear. And are we coming to the white flag? I think he must be. Next time around. I think he's on the penultimate lap at the moment. And we'll come around next time to catch the white. But yeah, as you said, coming down just a little bit. Well, not really just a little bit. It's coming down significantly, just not quite enough for Ironam to make a difference before the end of this race.
Hugh Haycock here having another little look. This is Dobek. Yeah, it was a good call from Michael to come in early. He definitely made grounds with that move, up 5 spots for the race. So yeah, our earliest of pit stop.
And it makes sense too, especially with a field as big and you know, tightly packed as this one. Just get yourself out of the battles, you know. I think that's really what allows a good undercut to work. And I think Dobek performed that quite well. Here's this gaggle, which is not broken up at all. Jason Perry is through on Paul Jackson and right in behind John Tusting in the potato car.
Yeah, he's going to need to fight back pretty quickly.
I think we have seen the lead redressed. I'm pretty sure that's Bohm giving back the position to Ironam, which is great to see. Clearly, Bohm recognizing it was his mistake that put him ahead and redresses the position to Ironam as they take the white flag.
Yep, my hat off to you, sir, Mr. Bohm. That is excellent sportsmanship. We love to see it. Not enough sim racers do that. And sometimes that's why you just got to love a bit of league racing. There seems to be a little bit more respect for your league people than when you're in the public sessions.
Absolutely, and it can be tough while you're driving to really recognize if you've made a mistake or you're at fault for an incident. But I think that one was pretty clear cut, and Bohm knew it, and that's why he's redressed it. But you're spot on there, Alex. Great to see examples of sportsmanship like that, and you just wish there was a little bit more of it in sim racing as a whole. But not much of the track to go, and Bohm hasn't really let Nam get away here. I think he let him go coming to the white, so he might have a chance to perform the overtake cleanly.
I mean, he should have done it a lap ago, really. Should have given himself a chance to get back in. He's really given himself very little opportunity here. But
yeah, there's not too many corners to go, but he's stuck right with Ironam.
I mean, certainly those last 5 or 6 laps, we've definitely seen the pace that Nom's had. Definitely the fastest man out there. Just these final couple of corners now. It's flat out all the way here to the checkered flag.
I think Nam's got it at this point. Obviously, Bohm will get a tow here, but it's not going to be enough. And Ironam crosses the line to win round 5 of the Spec Racer Ford Weekend Warriors Series.
Yeah, Rabin takes the final podium position as well, holding off Ian Haycock there. Very close battle, Hugh Haycock and Bobby West. I think Hugh's going to get this just before the line. He does indeed. Great little move right there. What an eventful race for Hugh.
Yeah, that was quite a roundabout way to get back to 6th place for Hugh Haycock. But he definitely had some goings on there today. Here's the battle for 12th. It looks like Sadro is going to have that one wrapped up pretty well.
Just trying to work out who has won for Spec 2.
I was doing the exact, well, you grabbed Spec 2. I think it might be Roland Wallbank, but you'll have to double check me on that. And I'm just looking at Masters now.
I think Gibson's still G.W. Miller. They're pretty close to each other. I think Miller's actually going to get this with all of what's gone on.
Yeah, you're right.
reckon we have a... Do you know what? I think Gibson and Miller might have exchanged positions just before the line. I wonder if we can get a little replay of that, because I don't know if that was before the line or just after the line. Oh, that is so... Okay, just after the line. So yeah, so JW just keeps that class victory.
And I think Ken Bately hung on to claim the Masters class win, unless I'm missing somebody. A lot of the Masters class drivers ran into trouble early on, unfortunately. Bob Kern, Steve Ray, all had early issues.
Oh, what a fun, exciting little race that was. Actually, had
Quite,
some ups and downs and all sorts of things.
I have to say it was a bit more chaotic than I was expecting. There was a ton of action and quite a few drivers making, kind of just making their own little mistakes there. But really exciting battles for sure. And good to see, as we mentioned when it happened, great to see the sportsmanship between Bone and, Iro Nam. I don't think anybody really faults David for making the mistake he made. But you still appreciate the position being redressed. So there's your result. Iro Nam, your race winner, ahead of David Bohm and Ferenz Arabian, who round out your podium. Ian Haycox comes home in fourth. He wins the Battle of the Haycocks for today. Pete Mabroten comes home in fifth, ahead of the second Haycox, Hugh. Bobby West comes home seventh. Michael Dobek, who we mentioned, comes home in eighth. Miro Hrosky in ninth, and Jeff Fritcher rounds out the top 10. Behind him, Simon Mayer comes home in 11th, ahead of Dan Sadra. Jesus Rodriguez, 13th. Adam Bradshaw, 14th. Jason Perry in the potato car brings it home in 15th. John Tusting, who is locked in that battle with Perry in the closing laps, brings it home in 16th, ahead of Paul Jackson and Ian Gibson. Behind them, J.W. Miller. So that looks like Gibson did get Miller before the line. What we were looking at, Alex. If that's to be believed, Ian Gibson did snag that one spot from J.W. Miller, which we believe is the Spec 2 class win. Behind them, Ken Bately, who we believe is your Masters class winner for tonight, ahead of Mark Gehan, Tom Gradwell, Roland Wallbank, Ian Malone, Darren Kuhn, Bob Kern, Alex Rogenbuck, John Vogel, Dudu Castro, Maurizio Naselli, and Stevie Ray.
Great little race. I think we've got a few people potentially waiting for an interview, including our race winner.
We do, and I will grab him and bring him in. Iro Nam, are you with us?
Yeah.
Well, that was certainly an eventful race for you. I'm sure you would have preferred not to have the incident there with David Bohm, but obviously he recognized the fault there and redressed the position. You held him off on that thrilling final lap.
Oh yeah, I wasn't happy, as you can imagine. So I was pushing very hard after the pit stop. Yeah, I was just full sending everywhere.
Yeah, obviously David waiting right till the end there, but take us back before the contact. You guys were having a phenomenal battle. It seemed to us like David might have just had a little bit of a pace advantage on you, but you were doing a stellar job to hold him off. Did you feel like you were the quickest car out there today, or were you a bit worried about David?
It was really hard to see the difference because he was in my draft, but I was thinking maybe I can do it a bit early. Actually, the lap I got hit, I was planning to pit, so that didn't work.
Yeah, fair enough. You obviously made use of the fast repair, though it didn't look like you had a tremendous amount of damage. And then with the pit sequence, you came out in a bit of traffic uh, right in behind. I forget who it was now. I think it was Haycox. I'd imagine that was a pretty tense few moments for you working your way back through there.
Yeah, it was Ian Haycock, so yeah. I was trying to be calm, but I was so mad, so yeah. I just had to get past and to get away.
Fair enough. Well, Iro, congratulations once again on your win there. Do you have anyone you'd like to give a shout out to before we let you go?
Yeah, thanks David for giving me the place back at the end there, and yeah. thanks you guys in the booth.
Excellent. Well, thanks so much for joining us in the booth. We love to talk to you guys after the races. And as I said, congratulations once again on the race win, Iro Nam.
Thank you guys.
Now, Alex, I am going to grab our runner-up, David Bohm, for you.
David, welcome to the booth. You got a copy?
Hi, do you hear me?
I have got you. Yep, loud and clear.
Nice.
Interesting little race for from you. It looked like the opening stint you were pretty much just holding steady, just kind of seeing how the race played out. I think a couple of times we went kind of on board, and you were just sort of like lifting, going into the corners where you could have had a run. So let's kind of circle back to the incident in a bit. But what was your mindset really for the race? What was your game plan originally?
I just tried to stay behind Aaron and save some fuel and take it easy. But unfortunately, one time I missed my braking point a little bit, and I couldn't avoid the contact.
Yeah, indeed. And then, of course, it looked like for a while that you perhaps weren't going to sort of readdress the positions, but you did, and great sportsmanship for doing that as well. Although I did say you probably left it one lap too late. You might have wanted to do it a lap earlier, and then you may have had a little run trying to get a move on that final lap.
Yes. Directly after the incident, I've waited a few seconds and hoped that he came fast enough so I can let him by at the beginning. But unfortunately, it takes some while for him to get back on track. So I continued the race. And after the pit stop, I've seen that he got some distance through the third place. And I decided to let him pass. But yes, I don't know what was the best time because of traffic and so on. So I just made it in this lap.
Yeah, it makes sense actually that you're keeping an eye because you don't want to give up.
Two
Second.
places, yes.
Yeah, exactly. Second place. I know. Yeah, good call. But like I said, really,
I was really happy to see that he can make it to the second place again, so I can give him the place back because I was really sad that this happened.
yeah, like I said, stellar sportsmanship there as well. So, I mean, you weren't able to close in at all in terms of the lead to the championship, but I think you may have reversed the positions in the table with Ferenz now. So, probably P2 overall in the championship. So, a good day at the office.
Yeah, I've already missed one race, but I hope this season will continue like this, and I can keep fighting.
Indeed. Before I let you go, anyone you kind of want to give a shout out to or anything like that?
No, thanks.
That's fine. No worries. Well, thank you, David, for joining us here. Congratulations on the podium today, and for like I say, more importantly, the rare sight of absolutely top class sportsmanship that you showed today.
Oh, thank you very much.
Right, and I think what we will have is we'll have Friends Arabian here for a final interview of the day with you, Tyler.
Yeah, very good. Our third place final podium finisher, Friends Arabian. Are you there?
Yes, Tyler, I'm here.
Well, it was a, I think, hectic race is the best way to describe it for you. Obviously, we saw involved in a couple of the early incidents, including one where you got quite the substantial hit to the rear end from, I believe it was Hugh Haycock's. But really, phenomenal job to work your way back forward up into third place. What was that fight back like from your perspective?
I had a mouthful of haycocks today. Really, Hugh pushed me off track, and that got me more fired up for the rest of the race. The plan was to just sit back, but now I had to actually push as much as I could. Once I caught up to Ian and Pete, I realized that my damage was just slowing me down on the straights, and I couldn't keep away. The draft was way too strong, so I decided to pit. And it didn't really work, surprisingly. Ian came right out when I was passing by, so he put good pressure on me and kept me honest the whole race.
Yeah, certainly. And uh, of the lead group, it seemed like you were in battles most of the whole way through. What was the pitch strategy like for you? Obviously, it kind of seemed to be kind of in the middle of the pit window for you, and uh, whatever you did, it worked out well in the long run. But what was the plan going in?
The plan going in was to save fuel. Given that I had damage and couldn't do the times I needed, I decided to pit early and get the new car with the fuel. And with that, I think I eked out the best result I could.
Well, fair enough, friends. And before we let you go, anyone you'd like to give a shout out to?
As usual, my girlfriend's very supportive, and I thank her for that. And you guys for having us on and having me on here.
Awesome. Well, thank you for joining us in the booth, friends. Congratulations once again on your podium. That should hopefully keep you well in that championship fight. And we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Well, that will do it for the driver interviews and for us here at Zandvoort today. Before we go, I just want to give you a heads up on what's coming up here on Apex Racing TV. First of all, if you leave right now, you can catch the end of the IGP Fun F3 round 5 at Oulton Park. And if you do decide to leave and check that out, please head to apexracingtv.com to find out when you can see the rest of our upcoming event. And then later on today, for those of you in the Americas like myself, it's a more convenient time for you guys. We have the second round of the XSLR series, which I got to commentate on last time. I'm not doing this one, but doing a number of that series. That's going to be a lot of fun. It's the second of their GT3 rounds, which is coming to you from Coda. Definitely worth a tune in later on today if you are in one of the favorable time zones. Next up then is going to be on Monday, the Apex Racing League Mazda Cup. Round 7 at Oulton Park. Those guys always put on a good show, and I'm sure they will once again at Oulton. Then on Tuesday or Monday night, for those in the U.S. time zone, we've got the Rick Mattek Classic Sprint Series Round 2 at Montreal. Followed up on Tuesday night for the European time zones, the Apex Racing League GT Trophy, Round 8 at Spa. That's GT3 cars. So if you want a little preview of what's coming up for the Spa 24-hour, that will be a good one to check out. Then it's the Radical Racing Challenge on Friday night, round 6 at Mosport. As I said earlier on in this broadcast, one of my personal favorite tracks on iRacing. Lots of fun to watch. The Formula 3.5 Championship on Saturday. That will be round 6 at Suzuka. And then we're back here with another week of the SRF Weekend Warriors. Round 6 will be coming to you from Brands Hatch. That'll be same time, same place next Sunday, the 25th. And if you're wondering, where can I watch all this? Well, if you're watching on YouTube, Apex Racing TV, that's a good place. If you're watching us on Twitch, Apex Racing TV, also a great place to watch. And if you are watching on YouTube and you'd rather watch on Twitch, go for it. You do get a little bit less latency there, so if you're following along with our live timing, that'll be to your benefit. And if you're watching on Twitch and you're like, I didn't know Apex Racing was on YouTube, then you can come check us out on YouTube as well at Apex Racing TV. Also, please give us a like on this video if you've enjoyed the broadcast, and give us a like or a follow on whatever your favorite social media platforms are. You can find us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and probably some others that I'm forgetting. All of those will be under Apex Racing TV, and we really appreciate everyone who follows us on all of our social media platforms. Also appreciate everyone who jumped in the chat and watched the broadcast here today. But that'll do it for us. For myself, Tyler Newitt for Alex Simpson and for Dennis Branch. Thanks so much for joining us here on Apex Racing TV, and we'll see you next time.